Hey everyone, just want to show you something that I thought was very interesting, especially if you're growing dahlias and you live in a cold climate. I'm in zone 5B, I'm in the southwest suburbs of Chicago. So I wanted to show you something, a little comparison here. So this is my air conditioner, obviously, and around it I have trellis that I put in. And last year I grew hyacinth bean vine to disguise this ugly monstrosity. But this year I wanted to grow dahlias because they'll get tall enough and give it a good camouflage with some beautiful flowers, hopefully. But I wanted to show you something real quick, especially for anybody who starts their dahlias early like I did. So I started 13 dahlias in the house that I ordered from different places. But this one here, I started in the house, as well as here, there, and there. So there's Cafe au lait, I think there's divas in here, but I've got a mix of them. But what I wanted to show you is Haldengarden sent me a tuber, and it was kind of late in the season, and I really didn't think I had much room left. But I said, okay, yeah, send me one, and I picked a Cafe au lait Royale. And what's interesting here is I started all of my dahlias that I ordered earlier in the year in the house, I think back in March, and then planted them out the same time that I planted out a tuber that I just started from a tuber. I didn't start this indoors. And look at how it's catching up. So this just went in as a tuber. This is Cafe au lait Royale from Haldengarden. And then these are the ones that went in, that I started indoors back here. So it's reassuring to know that, I mean, even if you're in a cold climate, maybe it'll be interesting to see if I have flowers about the same time on this Cafe au lait Royale that I started just from a tuber right outside. So these all went outside May 27th, but this was the only plant that went in as a tuber and not a plant. So it's already catching up to the guys that were started indoors. So it's reassuring to know that you can start these outside if you need to, and we'll see how the flowers develop and if there's any delay in flowering. But I would say the size of these two is pretty comparable. There's not a whole lot of difference. So the fact that I'm in a cold climate, zone 5B, I could probably save some space, which my husband would love, because I had dahlias everywhere, and I have a small house, so it's not like I have a whole lot of room for plants everywhere. But you definitely could start these the end of May in a cold climate. Well, for me, the end of May. If you're colder, you might want to be putting tubers in the ground in June. So it all depends on your growing zone. But I just want to show you what it looks like and the difference in size, which isn't that significant now. So just a little bit of information about dahlias, whether or not to start them indoors in March like I did, or just put them directly in the ground, which I might do next year just to save some space in the house, is put these tubers directly in the ground at the end of May. So I'll keep you updated, and we'll talk about the difference in flowering time and all that when these things start to flower, and if there is much of a difference.